And I was kissing two women, and I had two guys giving me a blowjob, which was like, this was like my dream.
That's like a bisexual man's dream.
Yes.
That's
it
amazing.
was literally my dream.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Audio Desires, an erotic audio platform dedicated to giving you the best oral sex you can have. With hundreds of sexy stories in 3 different languages and a sleek, user-friendly design, Audio Desires is the right fit to get you in the mood. Enjoy 50% off an annual membership or 20% off a monthly membership when you use promo code MANWHORE at audiodesires.com. You know you've made it in entertainment or are on your way out when you're helping dicks get and stay hard. Give your cock a natural performance boost with our sponsor, Joy Mode. No prescriptions, no drugs. It's just like a pre-workout, but for sex. Get 20% off your first order at usejoymode.com/manwhore. Again, that's usejoymode, USEJOYMODNE, and use promo code MANWHORE at checkout. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the ManwhoreCon Podcast.
Shout out to the fan whores, whoreheads, pod sluts. What's up, all you downloading dames and man whore mentees? This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. This is me, your host, Billy Presida, heavily attempting to keep his voice volume at a reasonably low level, as it is after midnight when I'm recording this. So this is me keeping calm, as we have a very exciting episode for y'all. A return of the Naked Podcast, yes, and this time we're doing it with longtime fan whore Chuck. Current and former Patreon members are very familiar with our dear friend Chuck, and all of you are going to know him very well by the end of this episode. Very excited to share this conversation with y'all in a little bit. Little update on me is now been 3 weeks since the breakup. I am functioning. You know, it's like I'm not happy, but I am like a operational human being. I'm out in the world. I'm putting on the glitter. I'm doing the things. I'm not very excited to go dating and make new connections because while I know ladies so far in my dating career, and mind you, this is after dating and hooking up with hundreds of people. This is the strongest emotional connection I've ever experienced. Arguably some of the best sex, if not the best sex of my life. So I feel like I've tapped out on the good heroin. And now it's like, well, I could go get some heroin. I could go get some pretty good heroin. But it's not that white dragon heroin I had for 11 months. Or maybe that's just how I feel 3 weeks out. Maybe I'll feel differently soon. I don't know. Giving it a try. Hey, if you have a breakup story, I think I'd really love to hear it. You know, my birthday's coming up, and no matter what I do or emails I send, I cannot get you fuckers to share the podcast on your social media. So you can make it up to me by sending me a good breakup story. You can send that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. But wow, do we have a great guest today. Oh my gosh. Not only was he a great guest, but these were some extraordinary circumstances under which this podcast is happening. Chuck is a longtime fan whore, big time supporter of the podcast. He's been on our Patreon pretty much since the beginning. He's been listening to the show for years. He's attended almost all of the ManwhoreCons. He's just dope dude, fun guy, very interactive. We love him in the champagne room. We love him in the peep show. And he is an angel who took me up on a Patreon reward that only 2 people have ever taken me up on. You get to be an executive producer on the show. That means you can come be on the podcast. You can dictate what a podcast episode is going to be. Back in episode 404, Gretchen was actually the first one to do it. She executive produced the Very Erotica episode. Threw down some coins, said like, Billy, it has been 400-ish episodes. I want to hear some erotica on your pod. And so I made sure to give her all the erotica in the world. And Chuck was like, I want to be on the show and I want us to be naked. And, you know, I'm a big old whore. So I was like, yeah, sure. Sounds great, man. If y'all remember, I used to do these naked podcast episodes in the early years of this show. I would recruit like various strangers and we would strip down and open up and be vulnerable about sex, dating, and love, but naked. And it would cause a very interesting tension because we're both nude with a new person and opening up to each other on a podcast. Sometimes some sexual tension would develop, as I've shared. Sometimes some things happen. Sometimes a dick would get hard in the process and someone was down to clown a bit, you know. So the naked episodes were really fun when we did them, but you know, I haven't done them in a long time. And Chuck was like, dude, I love the naked shows. I want to do a naked show. So we did a goddamn naked show. The only thing that's the thing about it is like, I've seen Chuck naked a ton of times. I've seen his nudes in the Peep Show for years. I have been naked with him at various ManwhoreCon events. So like, there isn't a tension there between us being nude. It was the first time I've done a naked episode and we were sitting there naked and I was like, yep, seems pretty normal. Seems totally chill and normal to be just sitting here naked with some dude who listens to my podcast, getting to know him with our big balls hanging out there. In fact, Chuck is such a beloved member of the community that some members of Fan Whore Nation, all on their own, proposed a podcast listen party tonight in the Champagne Room. Clothing and cameras optional. So, if you're listening to this episode and you want to listen to, if you want to experience this conversation with a group of fan whores, and maybe even with a group of naked fan whores, hey, to your comfort level, you should join us in the Champagne Room tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Listen to the episode so you already know in advance what's going on, or pause the show right now and come back in at 8 p.m. It will be in the patron-only Fan Whore voice channel. Join the Patreon, link it to your Discord account, and join the party 8 p.m. Eastern tonight. Feel free to turn on your camera if you want to. Feel free to dress to your comfort level. And you can gain access to that and oh so much more when you become a member at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. We talk a bit about the Peep Show in this episode, of which Chuck is like kind of a founding member. Chuck has got his very own bonus episode coming out tomorrow. Oh, wow. You get access to that when you're a Patreon member. You can join for as little as $2 a month. Join up today again at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And then join us in the Champagne Room tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern at manwhorepod.com/Discord. Links in the show notes. So yeah, Chuck, executive producer of this naked podcast episode. Anyways, in this episode, everybody, we're talking about social nudity. We're talking about bisexuality and non-monogamy. And oh boy, do we go into ManwhoreCon stories. Y'all are in for one hell of a treat, everybody. Enjoy the return of the Naked Podcasts, this time with longtime fan whore, Chuck. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Joy Mode. Folks, I mentioned earlier that like I've made some attempts to be sexual since the breakup, and I've had one successful encounter. It was a 5-hour hand job. Now, I don't want to give Joy Mode all the credit, but I got to give them credit for at least 2 or 3 of those hours. Joy Mode is the sexual performance booster designed to support erection quality and firmness and sex drive. And Lord knows I've needed a little help in that sex drive department lately. This woman, she came over, we connected on Reddit, and she's really into edging. And we thought we'd just do 1 to 3 hours, 1 or 2 hours, 3 hours if it just kind of gets out of hand, right? So we smoked some weed and we put on a really long playlist, but we didn't realize how long the playlist was. So I just assumed after 2 or 3 hours, the playlist would end, and that would be a sign oh, we should probably have me come and finish this up. But it was a 5.5 hour playlist, so it just never ended. And the entire time she's stroking my cock, whenever we would go into the rounds of me being hard, she would be like, your dick is like so hard. Like, it's not just, it's like aggressively erect. It's really hot. Oh my gosh. And I was thinking, I'm like, fuck yeah, Joy Mode. Look at you showing up for my blood flow circulation. All of that L-citrulline, arginine, yoimbine, and vitamin C. I don't know how to pronounce all this shit because, like, I don't have a PhD. I just fuck for a living. But, I use Joy Mode, and I think you should use it too. Maybe you can get a 5-hour hand job out of it. When I finally came, we were like, oh, what time is it? It was 2:15 in the morning. We were like, oops. Joy Mode is all natural. It's basically like a pre-workout powder mix, but for sex. So if you want to spice things up in the bedroom and boost your sexual performance, do it naturally without those nasty prescription drugs. Joy Mode has a special offer for the ManwhoreCon podcast audience. Go to usejoymode.com/manwhore or enter manwhore at checkout for 20% off your first order. Okay, again, that's usejoymode.com. That's usejoymode.com/manwhore for 20% off your first order. Thank you, Joy Mode. Oh, I have heard from fans of the show many a time that hearing some of the really hot and raunchy stories we tell on here have gotten them quite flustered at work, inconveniently filling up their pants or getting a little extra wet at the bar. And that's why I know you're going to want to join up at audiodesires.com for more oral filth in your ear. Before I started recording this intro, I was feeling a little, I kind of want to get some sexual juices going. I wanted to get a little bit raunchy and randy, so I pulled up a story and I cannot resist a good religious connection. I pulled up Not So Silent Night, voiced by Sophia and Susan, and oh my, did I tingle and dare I say jingle. These are highly produced erotic stories. This is not just some voiceover artist in a booth somewhere reading copy. Okay, I'm hearing moans while someone else is talking through the story. There's music, there's sound effects. I mean, it feels like I was there watching this lesbian Jewish threesome. And you can get into it too. And audiodesires.com is offering Fan Horror Nation a very special discount. You can get 50% off their annual membership. Yes, 50. That's half. I don't know if you know how percentages work, but half is 50%. You get half off an annual membership or even 20% off their monthly membership when you use promo code MANWHORE at audiodesires.com. Treat your ears to some oral sex one more time at audiodesires.com and use promo code MANWHORE to enjoy your very special discount. All right, now stop touching yourself over there. Let's get to the show.
Well, I'm always looking for opportunities to find ways to support what you do. And because I really think recently you've been I've really, really enjoyed your interviews and stuff like that. Like I really have. And so I was thinking okay, well, what would be fun, right? A way to spend some more money on Billy. And that's something I really recommend people do.
It's a great thing, everybody.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
And, this was an intriguing thing on Patreon to do. I'm sort of like a little bit like vain or a lot vain. And so I'm like, what better way than to just situate myself onto Billy's show?
So now we used to do these naked episodes. You remember?
Yes, I do remember. Yeah.
Done a couple series of naked episodes with total strangers. And normally, these are people I don't know. They don't know me. They're not necessarily super comfortable just being naked with a stranger. But I would give them a towel. They go to the bathroom and they come out in a towel. And then we would do like a 1, 2, 3 towel drop. I don't know if you remember that. And I would, we'd be rolling so you could hear the towels drop on the mics. And then we sat down, we talked to each other naked. But it's like one that's just such a facade. We're going to, hi Peep Show. We got the Peep Show is watching us right now on a live
my
stream.
favorite place on the internet.
The Peep Show has been around a long ass time.
Yes.
And so we're going to put the mics down. We're going to take our clothes off and we're going to pick these things back up and we're going to get to know Nude Chuck.
We're going to get emotionally and actually naked.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the original conceit of the thing, because I was like, you're most, like, I feel like you're most vulnerable when you're nude with a new person. But, like, again, it's like, I've seen your dick a lot. Yes. You've seen my dick a lot, both in person and on the Peep Show. I'm surprised you even bothered wearing underwear to this thing.
Well, it's like on days like this where it's humid, like, my butt gets a little sweaty. That's why I brought my, So I always wear this because I get embarrassed on the train. And I'm going to leave my socks on. Is that weird?
I forgot you have big balls.
Yes.
I have.
It's my favorite feature of myself. Yeah.
I get told often, especially more recently, I get told I have big balls.
Never. That's never a bad thing to hear.
I've never heard it as a complaint.
No.
I've never seen it as a complaint. Nope. I've never seen someone on Reddit be like, ugh, fucking hate it when dudes have those big balls. But then sometimes it's kind of like it sometimes can turn into a beanbag situation when you're soft. It like almost I feel like it almost diminishes my shaft.
Yes. Oh, I feel that a lot. But like you said, I'm often naked around people I don't know. Well, not often. I shouldn't say that. I'm often naked. Period. And then I have no problems with being naked in front of people I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so, you're a nudist.
Yes. Yep. And I have been for like at least 20 years.
20 years?
Yeah. Because I'm old.
Do you do you have like 20-year-long naked friends?
No, actually, because my friends will occasionally do a one-off naked thing.
Wait. You're like vanilla friends.
Yeah. Like the friends I've had forever, right?
What do you mean they'll just do a one-off
like we'll go
thing?
to like a nude beach or something like that, right? Like everyone will go to a nude beach a couple times, right?
Who brings it up?
Oh, usually me.
You invite people to the nude beach?
Yes, because I actually pretty much hate going to a beach if I have to wear clothes.
Same.
It just seems really ridiculous. So if there's that opportunity, we'll go, and they know like, oh yeah, he's going to want to not wear clothes, so, and that's just how it is. Right. Like, and I haven't slept with clothes. I stopped wearing clothes to bed when I was like 11 or 12, and never looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? What's it like going to naked events with your vanilla friends?
They get
I almost want to have them here and be like, so what was that like?
Well, it's funny because when we were in college, because a lot of these friends are friends of mine from college. Some of them are friends from high school, and they're even more vanilla. But my friends from college, actually, when we were in college, were more, I would say, they were my introduction. Like the first time I ever went to an orgy was in college with these friends of mine, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I said your vanilla friends.
But these are, well, I was just saying my non-nudist friends, right? Because they're not really vanilla. So that's why it's not such a crazy thing for them to be like, oh, yeah.
Not like someone from work.
No. Well, I work, in a school. So that's kind of not, like, that's not a thing I bring up, right? Like, because I feel like that's an easy way to get yourself on a watch list or something. Like, to start talking about doing naked stuff with your colleagues at work around children, right? So I keep that separate. Also, like, I have very few current work friends. I have friends from my last job, but like currently, the people I'm friendly with, but I don't consider them friends.
Because I could also see you being the naked friend and somebody like wants to try social nudity.
That has happened. Yes.
Because that happens to me with slut shit.
Yes.
They're
yes.
like,
oh, I'm sure it happens to you all the time. No, I mean, and that's some of it too, right? Like, because some people are afraid of erections, right? Like that's the big fear for guys. I think there are reasonable fears on both sides, right? For women, I actually think there are tons of reasonable fears. And it's so easy for guys to not realize that what they think is innocuous attention has crossed over into a little like too much, right? And it's just, and you would think like some of these guys are like, have been nudists and go to these events for a long time and they would get it, but some people just don't get social cues, right?
I was just talking about this at Hacienda on Sunday. I was at an afternoon party, and I was feeling more conversational than playful, apparently. And we were actually talking about like being a man single at the party, and this weird timidity, because if you're aware enough of those like gender dynamics to be like, oh, I should be a little bit more cautious in vanilla world, sometimes it carries back into slut world where you don't have to do that, but you have to. So basically you have to like train yourself to be aware of these things. And then at the sex party, like untrain your brain to allow yourself to kind of get more animalistic, get a little more aggressive, get a little bit more like sexual. Because it's allowed. We're at a sex party. It's okay. As opposed to like when you're at the cafe and you're like, oh, gender things. I should be, she might be perceiving this as that way. Don't stare too. You're right. But you have to kind of forget that a bit in this like special space.
And I think when you think about nudist things, it's if vanilla world is in the middle, right? And the slut world is, the other way. The nudist world is completely the other way, right? There's such a panic about things coming across as sexual that you really, it's like always eyes up here when you're talking to anybody, right? And you really, and because women are sort of they aren't present in big numbers, especially unpartnered women, right? You don't want to create an environment that feels unwelcoming, right? And so it's really like super rigorous. And so to go from that extreme for me to even go to the other extreme, and I've only been to a couple of sex parties here in the city, and I'm completely like I can't get there, right? Like, because I'm so much the other way, like don't look at it. Don't look at anybody. Don't talk to anybody.
There's something about like a fear of that like kind of male aggression
Yes.
that's allegedly in us, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's a fear of like letting that out, and so like I'm trying to constantly hold on to this chain that's apparently attached to a tiger. I can't see. There may not even. It might be a fucking kitty cat at the end of it. It might be a Hello Kitty, but I don't know. I'm scared of it because it's in the dark and there's a chain.
Yep. And you don't want to. And to me, it's like super important to like conform to the norms of the space, right? Like, and not I'm ultimately a people pleaser. I struggle with that in a lot of ways, but like I want to be in a space and I want to be like the best citizen in that space, right? Like, and so
But you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do.
Exactly, but I get so caught up in my head about it that it just makes you like you sort of short circuit a little bit. You're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna sit here and be quiet. Right.
And possibly at a sex party where like ideally you're off there having some fun.
Right. And so you psych yourself out of being able to have fun in those situations. It works great in socially nudist settings because it's perfect, right? I know all the rules. I've been doing it for such a long time. I can like move in that space so well and I'm super comfortable like that, right? So it's perfect, but it's like that, clamped downness is combined with all my other random, hang-ups really makes that other space hard, which makes the whole, like, when I think about how we even got to, the slutty stuff I do, I'm always amazed that I'm able to do it. Always.
What was your introduction to nudism?
Well, like I said, I grew up in a household that wasn't nudist, but both of my parents were really comfortable with nudity. Like, I saw both my parents naked all the time. Like, I was going through some family photos. Like, there are pictures of, like, when we were younger, like, me and my brothers taking baths together. Like, I took showers with my mom and dad, like, when I was little. Like,
that's kind of, I feel like when you're, like, little, that's not.
No, I'm talking about, like, I mean, like.
You mean, what, you mean, like 11?
No. That would be weird. But no, like 5, 6, 7, like that age kind of stuff. But, and just no hangups about it, no shame about it. So I never felt like, I have to necessarily, hide because it's a bad thing. Like I went through that period of time in adolescence where you just get weird about your body, right? And so that there was that, but you know, I never had that kind of, it is inherently shameful for someone to see you naked, right? So I was always, you know, that was my framework. And so I don't remember why I decided, oh, I'm going to sleep without clothes. But I did. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, I'm never putting on pajamas again. Right. Like, and like I have.
Fuck you, PJs. You lose.
Like, you don't have to buy me any more pajamas because I'm not
How many
wearing
pajamas
those.
were you getting, man? Enough for a drawer? That's too many pajamas.
I think we had a lot. For some reason, I think I had a wide array of pajamas growing up. Then it was just great. Like, I just loved it. I loved that freedom. I loved that feeling of it. And so I just cut it out. And then, you know, when I went into middle school and high school, like I was like, you know, I was a small, nerdy kid, right? But like I was one of the few kids who would take a shower after gym and change in the locker room, even though like, you know, and I thought it was weird that people did it.
Dude,
right?
I did not change fucking. If I had gym, which is most of I just wore whatever I wore to gym because I was not going to take my shirt off in that fucking locker room with those boys. I was like,
I know.
They call me mean things when I have my shirt on. What are they going to do when the tits are out?
No, and I had some of that worry as well, but like, also, I think my high school experience was clearly different than yours. Like, I got a lot, even with the biggest jocks, right? Like, they treated me okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so, and I think they sort of were like, when I first started just like taking showers with them, they were like, look at this fucking guy. Like, oh, isn't that cute? Like, you know, like he stays. Yeah. But, and then it was just a thing. And you know, and I was like, okay, this is fine. And like, and so when I moved to California after I graduated from college, that's when I really just went full. Like, because there were so many opportunities back then, so many spaces to hang out naked. And I was like, this is fucking awesome.
What kind of spaces?
So, you know, of course, outdoor, so like beach and things like that. And there were a lot of options then.
Were there a lot of nude beaches?
Yeah. And in San Francisco itself, there's one right essentially in the city. Right at the end of Golden Gate Park, there's that beach, and when you go up toward the Golden Gate, that beach is a nude beach.
On the San Francisco side?
On the San Francisco side, yep.
All right.
And there are tons of, I mean, so the other thing about San Francisco, right? There are plenty of spaces to be naked for guys that also, if you are, if you like guys, you know, there can potentially be that aspect to it too.
There were nude beaches and there were fucking bushes.
No, I mean, no, but like, for example, like the Folsom Street Fair, right, had tons of nudity. Beta Breakers, which is a race, right, a city race, would always have naked runners, right? There are tons of Asian bathhouses that are not gay, and there are tons of gay bathhouses, right?
Is that the differentiation? Like, if I'm in San Francisco and I want to go to a bathhouse, I'm like, am I looking for the Asian bathhouse?
Yeah, I would say yes, although in San Francisco those lines are somewhat blurred, you know. But here, for example,
they're like bathhouses, they're a spectrum, you know.
Yeah. No, it's true, and I've been to the whole spectrum. And like here in the city, right? Like if you would go to one of the like the big like Spa Castle or King Sauna out in Fort Lee, right? Those are family, right?
I've been to Spa Castle.
Yeah, and you'll be naked, right? It's sex segregated, but typically things won't happen, although occasionally you'll see things. But then there are other spaces where you go and the expectation is someone's going to jerk me off in the sauna, right? Like,
notice he said someone's going to jerk me off in the sauna, not he's going to jerk someone off in the sauna.
I'm not that bold. And like, you know, my whole thing, like when people talk about like, oh, who are you attracted to? The first thing is I'm attracted to people who are attracted to me. So
Yep.
if you want to jerk me off, then I'm going to be like super inclined to reciprocate.
That line from Definitely Maybe where like the dude, Derek Luke's character goes like, I have a thing for people who have a thing for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's it.
That's exactly
that's
right.
a good starting
it's perfect. It's perfect, right? Like,
it's why I never understood dudes who try to talk women into doing shit that they don't want to, or trying to like convince them to fuck them when they clearly don't want to. Cause I go like, as soon as like you don't want to fuck me, I like lose like 95% of my interest.
Yep.
If I talk you into it and you still don't seem that into it, I'm not excited.
but at the same time, then I do feel like, I let myself. I find myself in situations that like I probably if I was more intentional wouldn't have gotten myself into. More often than not, they end up with me, coming. So it's okay. Like
Sure,
I'm like it's hard to feel, like I never feel pressure, but I'm like, oh, like this person is so nice to want to make me feel good. Yeah. I'm not going to say no, and then I kind of get into it.
It's like when you're at a friend's house and they offer you a meal that you're not super excited about, but like they are offering me a meal. So there were some spaces like you said there were nude beaches, there were some bathhouses. Were there other like nudist social spaces?
There weren't as many. Well, at least I didn't. Back in the olden days, because
I go to naked board game nights back in the
no, because they were harder to find because the internet was sort of in its infancy back then.
I would have thought the infancy part of the internet would have only been naked meetups, because the rest of them they just put in the paper.
Well, I was never big into like back then. I was never big into like the social spaces that existed online. Like I wasn't going online to like talk to other people back then, because actually like I had a really crazy, fun, robust life in the real world, and the internet was, and like it took forever. Like it was slow. Like it was all that, right? I was running a theater company with some friends, and we just had bonkers fun all the time, right? Like it was some of the best. So I didn't have a big online presence. So I didn't even think like, oh, hey, this is a place where you can go and find something in that fits your niche, right? Like as long as I could, have that time where I could lay out naked or sit in a steam room naked or something like that, I was fine, right? Like totally okay.
And what is it about like social nudity? Like what does that do for you? Like why are we naked right now?
I have always struggled. I use it as a sort of self-therapy about my own issues with my body, right?
Okay.
Like, and I think that was, one, I love the way it feels, right? Like I love clothes and I love shoes and
yeah, you're normally like a pretty fly dresser. Like
yeah.
you seem very confident wearing colors
Yep.
and putting them together. When I've seen you, when you've come to events, like you were pretty well, like you wore orange today. I don't have that bravery.
Yeah. No, and I love it, right? Like I love to make statements that way. But like also like I just feel really relaxed and just sort of like, and I'm a hedonist at heart, right? And so like that's part of it, like just to feel that the sensation of the world directly on my skin. Mm-hmm. But I've also have had not crippling, but like really bad body self-image, sure. Right? And this was sort of my way to be like, you sort of jump into the deep end every time you're willing to take off your clothes in front of people mm-hmm. that you don't know, and just see how that goes, right? Yeah. And like it's a sort of positive reinforcement for me to be like, oh, like one, it's also you get to see a whole range of bodies yourself, and you're just like, oh, like. Like
this will be bad to say, but like Gunnison, sometimes I'm like, I see enough different bodies that I start feeling better about mine. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
They're naked.
It's okay, I can be fine. And it's not bad to say because I think I go through that same thing. But I also find myself not judging them for that. Like I do compare myself a lot, and I'm like, all right, I look good, right? I'm okay, right? But I'm also not like, ew, that person, right? Like,
sure. I'm just like, if they're naked, then I don't think anyone's looking at me going ill.
Yeah, exactly right.
Which
right?
is still me kind of illing them in a weird roundabout way.
Yeah, I guess so.
I saw a dude. I remember maybe this was. I don't think this is a 2020 summer. Maybe it was 2019 summer, maybe it was 2020. I remember just being next to this group of 4. It was two couples, and they were trying to get, but one of the guys just didn't want to get naked, and he was thinner than me, and he didn't want to get naked. I was like, oh man, I must be the shit because I got this body and I'm down to be naked, and he's got a body maybe I've once wanted, and he's scared to get naked. So I'm like, sick.
Yeah, I think you have such a great. See, you project a confidence. I know from here listening to you over the years that you don't always feel that way.
But
right?
It's ever since I was a kid, they told you had to, even when you don't feel it, you got to project the confidence, because then I can get into that positive reinforcement loop. You go to the sex party and you're nervous about it. You jump in the deep end. But if you just fucking project that confidence, you have one hookup at the sex party can yield another hookup at the sex party, which yields other people saying, wow, he's hooking up. I maybe want to hook, right? But you have to start the engine takes a little extra force than keeping the engine moving.
Yep.
One of my therapists, I have 2 therapists. Don't want to brag, everybody. I'm super therapy.
So do I.
And I remember when I started
Therapy
seeing
bros.
this group years ago, and I told them I go to sex parties. His first he knew my issues, so he's just it seems emotionally risky for you to go to a sex party. And he kept trying to be I'm not trying to say sex parties are bad, I'm not trying to, but it seems risky to go. But I'm yeah, no, you got to dive in.
Yeah.
What's the worst that happens? I'm going to feel gross. I already feel gross. Well, I'm going to feel gross around people. They're not going to give a shit. They're busy fucking. Yeah. They're not looking at me.
See, I need some of that attitude because I feel like sex parties are emotionally risky for me. Mm-hmm. And in a certain way, and I know we're jumping around the topics, non-monogamy is super emotionally risky for me, just because I feel like it forces me, but I also think there's some positive things to it, right? Because it's forcing me to then have to go and project the confidence to, be with someone else, or, it's very easy. Well, I don't want to say it's very easy, but my relationship with my wife is really super close and we're really super loving, right? There's that's very well established, and there's a lot of safety in that, right? And so at my age and point in life, it's almost why do this to yourself, right? Why put yourself through this whole song and dance about trying to find people, and I'm not at all interested in having another relationship.
Polyamory, but you're down for some extracurricular sex.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the nudism is nothing. So the nudism is not at all a sexual thing for you.
Nope.
Because even when I'm in a nude space, I am talking down those instances. Because I am checking people out. Sometimes I do get a bit excited. I have gotten boners at the beach at Gunnison, just seeing some sexiness and then thinking of sexiness, and now I'm hard, and also I'm excited that I'm hard because maybe someone's gonna see me hard, and maybe they'll want to talk to me. It's there is. I'd be lying if being in a social, non-sexual nude space still wasn't some bit sexual for me. It's just a matter of can other people tell that it's sexual for me?
In the right spaces, I think that doesn't matter, because if you're with the right people, right, they recognize you can't shut off that part of your brain and be it enters into the equation, because you're still sexual. We're still sexual people, right? And the best spaces I've been in are the ones who are hey, look, if you get an erection, just and it's not, and it doesn't seem like it's the right time or place for it, just cover it up.
Or just don't point it at anybody.
Yeah, don't showcase it or show it off, right? Not that oh, you should be shamed for being excited by people who I love looking at naked people. That's the other thing. I love looking at naked people. I'm attracted to all types of people and all genders of people. So being in a naked space, I love it, right?
So none of this has to do with you just wanting to be one-on-one naked with Billy Procida.
No. No. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be one-on-one naked with Billy Procida. Always, I will never say no. But this wasn't. Well, maybe it was a roundabout ruse because what else could you think about it?
Well, like we've seen each other at ManwhoreCon on more than one occasion.
Yep.
So wait, have you been to every ManwhoreCon?
No, I wasn't.
You weren't
at
at
the
2019.
Yes, that's the
one
one
you weren't at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you've been there and you've had some fun. I feel like every year.
Yeah.
Even the first one where like you weren't there when things broke out into like a broken foursome. Oh God, that was embarrassing. But that was a weird fucking night. But then the second ManwhoreCon, that was my favorite.
Awesome. Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, what was good about it for you?
Well, the whole thing was fun, right? And I think I remember one of the days I couldn't make some of the things, but that when you rented that place,
that wasn't even me. The townhouse.
Oh yeah, who rented that?
Rented the townhouse and they offered
that
very, very kindly to let it be like a fun base of operations.
Yes.
So,
it definitely was a fun base of operations.
Dude, we hung out there like 2 nights before ManwhoreCon. We fucked around in that place. And we had like orgies broke out even before ManwhoreCon started with the people who showed up to New York early. Then we did ManwhoreCon. We had the thing. And then even after ManwhoreCon, they were like, yeah, we got it for one more night. It was a fucking orgy house.
Yeah. And they did. They really, and that's why it was so much fun, right? Like they were like the right kind of fun people.
Yeah.
Like just absolutely sweethearts, and so, that's why I had such a great
what kind of fun did you get up to at ManwhoreCon?
It was great because I got to just essentially sit on the couch. And I remember I think you were on the Motor Bunny, if I remember seeing you, and you had a bunch of people around you, and I was on the couch and I was kissing 2 women and I had 2 guys giving me a blowjob, which was this was like my dream.
That's like a bisexual man's dream.
Yes.
That's
it
amazing.
Was literally my dream.
While you were living your dream, because you said I was next to the Motor Bunny, so this must have been happened then because I was next to it, and I had for a brief moment of time a straight man's dream where I had 2 women blowing me, and then one would stop and leave, and then a new one would kind of come in. So I had 2 different, and I think 3 or 4 women cycled through that, but constantly I had 2 women slurping my cock, and I was like, what is my life right now? Can someone call High School Billy and tell him everything's gonna be okay?
I was like, what is my life right now? And I'm not even the focus of this event.
What was cool about that party was the feedback I got afterwards was so many people, that was either their first time being naked around others. And for some, they were like, this was my first time being sexual, my first time with group sex.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I didn't play, because again, ManwhoreCon, it's not on the itinerary.
No.
I just built a container where group sex can break out safely. And it always does.
And it was just so clear how much you had learned from ManwhoreCon 1 to ManwhoreCon 2.
Mm-hmm.
There were some wonderful things I loved about ManwhoreCon 1. And I feel like when we were at the Stonewall and with that small group and we were dancing and making out with people and that was so much fun, right?
Great. That was so
so for me, to be back out there, it's just it's real stressful. And so when I think about sex parties, I'm like, I just feel like I can't have people not reject me, but I have such a hard time, feeling oh, you are desirable to people, that it puts me through a ringer.
Yeah.
But, the benefit, I'm going to really make this reductive. The benefit to being, bi is guys, there's always guys who will find me attractive, right? if that's all I want to do, right? There is a man out there somewhere who will that
blow you,
or
put their dick in your mouth. There's always
exactly
something that can be done there.
Always something that can be done, and it's amazing. And recently I hooked up with this guy. I mean, I met this guy, and I forget how we even met. What method? I'm going to say field. I don't know if that's true. He's younger than me because, of course, right? There aren't very, I set the age filter to be up to my age, and I never see people my age.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that should be a sign, but, but whatever. And it's totally not literally we're just fuck buddies. I don't really know anything about him. He doesn't really know anything about me.
Wow.
But what I do know is that he thinks a lot about what he wants me to do to him and like what he wants to do to me, right? And that's like so fucking like, and he's good looking, right? Like, so I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, like I my struggle is I want to feel desirable to someone, and I don't always do that. And the reason, and you're a big reason to why non-monogamy came up in my marriage, right? Because at the time of the first ManwhoreCon, my wife and I were actually on like, I'll call it a separation, but it wasn't even really, it was just like sort of a break, right? Because, and I'm not going to speak for her, but there's like, some physical, medical stuff, some emotional, psychological stuff that has really made sex difficult for her. So it was at that point, it was like, okay, well, I don't need a ton of sex. I'm not that guy, but I need some, right? Like,
and you don't want it to feel like a chore for her.
No, not at all, right? Like never. But at the same time, it fucks with my head, right? And I know the reasons, right? And we've had some therapy around this and everything else, so that's helped. But it still is hard to not, the person I love most in the world and who loves me most in the world is not, even that person isn't, you get that, right?
Yeah,
is not attracted to me.
So I didn't realize y'all weren't in a non-monogamous.
No. No,
like,
at that point, we was just like, we're on a break.
Right.
Who knows what's going to happen? And it was listening, to the show and then meeting people. I was like, well, maybe this is a way to go. And it's not.
Had it never come up before?
No.
That possibility?
No, because, the thing about it for her is it's not so much about jealousy. She's like embarrassed that this is a thing that in her mind we have to do.
She's like, I should be able to satisfy this need.
And so it's not really.
I would have thought the bisexuality would have been the factor.
But that was pre-existing.
Right, but like, was there space for that within the marriage before?
No, and I was fine with that. Like,
you're like, I had all the dicks I need. If I hope. What was the last dick before you settled down with who would become your wife?
It was,
because I imagine for a while you had to hold on to that as like, that was the last cock I'm ever gonna have.
Well, because I'm pretty sure it was probably an anonymous one, so I was maybe not.
Tell us about it.
Yeah,
we love stranger play on this show.
That was at a bathhouse that I had been to, and again, and actually it was one in Germany.
Okay,
so. I do travel around the world and I get up to places I go. And, in a steam room, guy wanted to, they put your hand, is this okay?
Is that the code? You just put a hand on the thigh and wait for a reaction?
It is there at least. Yeah. Okay. I'd never do it, right? Like I'd never do it because I'm like, I don't want to do the wrong thing.
You sit there and like, you are waiting for someone to put
Not always. No? Like, I could be fine. Like I totally could be fine,
Sometimes
right?
You just need some steam.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
I've never thought that before. I've never thought I needed steam.
Really?
I do frequently think I need a hand job.
No, I'm not. Like, I'll go and I'm like, I'm going to have like a completely indulgent day. And if something happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm going to leave here fine.
Okay.
Right. And then I don't want to say inevitably because sometimes nothing does. But, you get that. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, let's go. This is. Especially if I don't have to do much. If this let's just be clear. If like you're down to do this, I'm super fine with that.
And so it was just an anonymous hand job in Germany at a bathhouse?
It was a blowjob.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
You know what I do like about the naked podcasting is like sometimes the when the XLR cord like tickles the tip of the dick, it is a pleasant feeling.
Yes.
That is my main thing I enjoy about the naked podcasting. I do like that.
I really appreciate you doing this with me, by the way.
Oh no, thank you, man. Yeah. This is fun. Like I said, I also I just also knew we had an idea of like maybe it'd be something a little bit more produced, but I was also like, Chuck's good on his own. Yeah. Like I was like, he's a good talk, he's a good hang. I remember ManwhoreCon last year, our COVID con. Do we call that?
COVID. Also really great, very different, but really great.
Yeah, that was for the first time, I skipped 2020 for ManwhoreCon, but then last year, instead of doing, because I did not know what would happen, I thought it would be easier to, instead of doing ManwhoreCon normally is you come to New York City, you get a weekend pass, and I schedule like a weekend of stuff for us to do. And this time I was like, I'm going to get us a nice big Airbnb with a very broken hot tub. And the first night, the air conditioner is not going to work. But that's just part of the appeal. Welcome to upstate New York. And we're just going to we're just going to hang for the weekend. It'll be very chilled. And so it was different. It was obviously smaller, but it was like, it was still a good time.
It was the right group of people too, because it could have gone, the wrong person could have really made that weekend take a different turn, right? Like be really super upset about, the AC situation and not really be able.
No. I was so nervous.
No, like everyone was just such a great, like super cool people, and they were just like, we're gonna roll with this, like, and that was really awesome, right? And like someone with just like the slightly wrong attitude could have injected something really not great into it, but it was really awesome. And
most of them I didn't know, so I actually couldn't gauge what it would be.
You weren't pre-vetting.
Previous ones I had to know, okay, the are going to be here, these people are going to be here, Chuck will be here, but with the but with that one last year, like most of the people there I was meeting for the first time.
They were so cool. And for those of you who haven't been to ManwhoreCon, when Billy says it's like organized, you get a folder. Like he's serious. Like he treats it seriously. It's not something that he is like half-assing at all. Like I'm telling you, it's pretty impressive. And for ManwhoreCon 1, you really didn't know what you were getting into, and it was like, meet me in Union Square Park, right? And I'm going to be there, and you're like, okay, and you show up, and he's there with a table and bags and
Swag
folders,
bags, yeah.
and I was like, oh shit, this is a real thing. Like he really made this.
I do not believe in myself enough to charge y'all just to hang out with me.
Yeah.
Like I will get y'all some free shit. We'll have some stuff to do, I promise.
Yeah, I got that crazy big rubber cock ring thing that I've used occasionally. Lubes, stickers, pins, all kind of really cool stuff.
I try to hook it up. But it's also why I'm not doing ManwhoreCon this year, just because I was like, I've been like burnt out a bit, and I just need a year to like recollect, get the show back going the way I'm used to and stuff. And, maybe, again, it's like maybe I'll do regional ManwhoreCons like I did last year in different places, or we'll do the big New York thing next year. But this year I got to, because I don't want to do it if I'm going to I don't want to half-ass it, but I do miss it. Like I miss you fuckers. So it's like, I want to hang out with y'all again. I love an excuse to get you sluts together. And I love that you sluts will turn anything into a slutty event, no matter what I do or don't do. Last year we got to the final day and I was like, wow, an orgy didn't break out. Oh, this is kind of different. Nope, still not. By the end, it wasn't like as much as all in one kind of space, but you went off and did stuff, and other people did. I went to the sauna and jerked off with a chick in there, and it wasn't even playing with each other. Just like she masturbated, I masturbated, came, I went to bed. Then she apparently went off and blew somebody afterwards. I was like, "That's ManwhoreCon, baby. That's Chinatown." But ManwhoreCon, it's a pretty wild, fun, but it's also a cool time because all y'all are together, and the only shared interest is that you think I do a pretty decent podcast,
which is crazy when you think about it, right? Like crazy. And like that group of people, like I said, who was there, and like you said, nothing really sexual happened until the last night, and it was super fun.
You're gonna have to tell me and us about what happened that last night for you, because like I was in a sauna, and then I went to bed. And I know shit went down.
Yep. Well, in typical
what happened?
In typical me fashion, right? Like I can tell when, and in this case it was a woman, I can tell when someone's hitting on me, but I convince myself, no, you're just making that up, right? So I'm just going to be weird about it. But sometimes that's a turn on to people when you're just weird and awkward, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so we're talking, and obviously there's a little bit of an attraction going on, and I feel the gravity of like the gravitational pull moving things to going to a more sexual level, but I'm not helping it along at all, right?
Sure.
Because I'm like, no, because I'm like, what if I'm reading this wrong? Then I'm going to fuck up
all these
ManwhoreCon.
people, they just come to me. They're hitting
I
on
know.
me. They put their hands on my thigh. I don't do nothing. I'm
So even when we're in the shower together, I'm like super coy, and I'm like, like, so isn't it cool? We're just showering together, like a fucking idiot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she was like, yeah, let's.
Are you gonna fuck me or what?
Yeah. And I was like, yes. It was not exactly that blunt, but it was almost like that.
Did you have a threesome that night?
No, I didn't.
No, that was somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yes.
'Cause somebody. Wait, did you mess with that couple? The opposite sex couple that came?
Yeah, but later.
Oh, wait. There was. Wait. What?
Yeah, that was after
Who the fuck did you
ManwhoreCon.
shower with?
Oh, one of the
One of the two friends that
yes.
Maybe it was the because I think
The one who was not the
I
listener.
think I was masturbating with
Yes, the other
her
one.
friend,
Yep,
and you
yep.
were in the shower. Yeah. Okay.
And then I was just like, because they were sharing a room and I had my own room, and I was like, oh, you want to go back to my room? And it was so much fun.
Yeah?
At that point. Yeah, it was like so much fun. And because I also think like we were both in the same mindset. It's like literally like, it's this last night. Let's just have fun. And we knew that because she didn't live in the area, this is just going to be this and what it is. And it was like, I mean, nothing's perfect, but it was so fun. And like, I mean, there was so much squirting. Like we had to put towels down. And I was like, we're going to fuck up the house. The last night we've kept it so clean. Now it's like the floor is soaked. And it was just really great. It was really fun and super cool.
How did that transition into playing with the bad dragon couple?
Well, they were still in town after ManwhoreCon was over.
Oh, you played with them after?
Yes.
Oh.
And and we and just for people who don't who aren't on the Discord, which you should be, we've already, all the people involved have already commented on this and told these stories on Sexual Achievement Sunday. So I'm not saying something that hasn't already been shared. But I was like, hey, if you want to, hang out, I'm a native New Yorker.
Did
Let's
you
go out.
sample? I'm going to jump ahead. Did you sample the bad dragons?
No.
This is a couple who one of them is very well known in the Peep Show.
Yeah.
For his love of the Bad Dragon product line.
Yes.
And I might have the whole product line. And Bad Dragon, if you don't know, are these fantasy-based sex toys. It's like basically if there's like some sort of mythological creature's cock.
Yes.
Or like a horse dick dildo, which I think he brought. Picture of me on Instagram with it slapped against my face. And so like they brought, like came with partner and brought a bag of the Bad Dragon stuff, and I was just like, "Who's gonna fucking have fun with that?"
No, I did not, and I think they could.
Could
tell.
you handle a Bad Dragon?
No, especially not some of the ones that he has, because they are impressive.
You need like a bag of poppers to like take some of those.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's pretty impressive. But then we had a really fun day, and then we were out at the Stonewall. Having a drink, and they were like, do you want to come back to our hotel with us? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. And that's really how it went down. And we had a really great time because they both are also some of the best people, like just such great people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't need, because I know I've heard you talk about this, like you really need some sort of connection, right? And I don't need that, right? To just fool around with someone. But when you really enjoy someone's company and you think they're just like an awesome person, it does make a difference.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It just does enhance so much.
Yeah. And it seems like there's a lot, at the ManwhoreCons, those connections seem to happen.
Yeah.
And the Peep Show is cool because y'all make those connections
Yep.
like beforehand. Some of the people who came had never listened, like one person never listened to the podcast. She joined up and was in the Peep Show for a while. Like
Yeah.
it was, so it's pretty cool. You know, you've been in the Peep Show since like the beginning.
Yep. I still have in my on Kick that the old
Archive
is there. I mean, none of the pictures show up, so there's really no reason to go back and look, but it's still there.
Yeah, man. It's we moved from Kick to Telegram after a while.
Yeah.
And you know, tell people a bit like about the Peep Show. What's your experience in the Peep Show? If someone was ever on the fence about it, like you sell it.
Yeah, I'm not a religious person, but every time
That's a weird way to start.
Yeah, but every time I open up the Peep Show, I'm like, I am so fucking blessed right now that I get to open up this app. Like today, I opened it up right on my way here to see Billy, and there's a small gif of one of the members of the Peep Show fucking a woman with a gorgeous ass.
And preceding that is another Peep Show member with a gorgeous ass covered in cum.
Yes. I mean, so, and again, for some,
and like maybe 10 messages earlier, someone might be like, I'm having a tough day today. Like, what a beautiful community.
Yes.
That we could talk about someone's like tough day and then also show cum.
It is so great. And, you know, and again, it's not just like, I'm like, oh, and I find everyone who is in that group beautiful, and it's sort of because I feel like I know them, right? So I can't even be objective about what someone outside might think of their bodies, because every time I see someone there, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. They're like so beautiful. And for someone like me who loves all the body parts that anyone has, like I'm constantly, because you know, if you're a straight dude, you're probably less excited about Flagpole Friday, or you know, but I'm excited every day. And sometimes, like, you know, I try to be real positive reinforcement, because I want people to keep putting their gorgeous bodies on the Peep Show. So I'm always trying to encourage people. And even when I'm like in a sort of bad space or like depressed, like, and I'm not interacting as much, it's always great to open it up, read through, see what people are up to, and then see the really fucking sexy pictures that people are putting up. I think about, like, I'm like, dude, this fucking guy, Billy, right? Like, people are doing this because of him and this podcast, right? And it's amazing. And I'm like, and I just get to be adjacent to it, and it's still fucking awesome.
Emotionally, I am rock hard right now. I just want everyone to know that.
Fucking decolonizing shit and improving my life. Billy Procida, ladies and gentlemen.
I would have sworn I was the colonizer, but yeah, man. I mean, like, yeah, it's pretty cool what's popped up around this thing. My ego sometimes takes a blast when, like, there are people in the communities who are like, I haven't actually listened to the show in months, but I'm still excitedly here. And I'm like, no, that's fine. That's great. It's totally fine. Are you still unsubscribed? Because I would look at is the download hidden? Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, it's fine. There's some good shows up, and that's fine. Okay, so it's almost like some of y'all couldn't give two shits about the podcast at some point, and you're just like, no, but you're happy to be in community with each other. And I think that's it's something I really dig about you know, what I do is I get to watch y'all kind of, you know, for some of y'all, I think one time the question of the day in the champagne room was like, what was like your introduction to like being able to talk to sex positive, or who were like your first people you could like open up to about kink, non-monogamy, sex at all, queerness, whatever. And like so many people said this group.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Like some people really don't got no one to talk to about this shit, which is sad.
And I was lucky that when I was in college, I had friends who were really sort of wild. And, you know, I was probably the most vanilla out of all of them, right? I don't think that's true, but amongst, right? I was more on that side of it than other. But I was so, the thing with me is I'm so cool with whatever people want to be, right? Like people invite me to everything because it's like, well, I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm going to be like fun. I'm going to talk to people, right? Like that kind of stuff. And so I feel like this is a version of that. Like I get to be part of it, and, you know, it's just really fun.
Well, now you're like super in the canon.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
You're on the motherfucker.
Yes. Oh my God. I have ascended.
Yeah. I'm really curious about the non-monogamy with
Yep.
the wife. You down to do a little bonus episode about that?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're going to talk Patreon people. You're going to hear tomorrow us talk about, your marriage, how you met your wife, how it opened up and how it's been going since.
Yep.
But for now, is there anything you want to leave people? This is normally where I say plugs, but you're not. This probably not.
I don't have anything to
plugging
plug.
things that much.
Well, but you can always slide into my DMs at the Champagne Room, our super free, super fun, super sex positive Discord server.
What?
I listen to the podcast. People stole Billy's line.
What?
So yeah, I'm there all the time. You can actually follow me on. You can follow my nudist Twitter, which is at nudechuck. It's pretty easy.
I had no idea you had a nudist.
Yeah, I think I follow you there too. I think I follow you both.
Follow that.
Yep. If you want, occasionally.
Are you posting nudes on there?
Sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I plan to travel around Europe for a month next month, and I'm going to be actually at a couple of nudist resorts in Croatia, so I will be posting about that.
Is the Croatian nudist scene really popping?
Yeah, it's one of the best. I mean, there's whole villages of just naked towns.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
so
like their major export is like, peaches, and we're known for our nudist
yes.
towns.
No, actually, this is true. So this is a pilgrimage for me.
ManwhoreCon 2023, guys. We're going to Croatia.
Yes, and I'm going to do some advance work, and I'll let you know how it goes. But yeah, I'm going to do that, and so I'll post from that, and I'll probably blur out this tattoo. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to leave people with before we go?
No, I mean, I think the bonus episode is going to be really listen to that. Give Billy $5 so you could listen to that. It's going to be totally worth it. Actually, give him. Pay for the whole year so you could hear that.
Yeah.
But no, I'll just say goodbye to the people. I'm taking all your lines because I listen to the show.
Please do.
The podcast
Let's work for me. I'm going to sit here letting the XLR cord tickle my dick some more.
No, I will actually say this. We're talking about the communities, and communities are great, but I will just reiterate, I think you are doing really, really great work in the podcast itself. Like your choice of guests, the conversations you have with them. I always say this, and I know you sort of like the diversity of people that you have, and not just racial, ethnic diversity, but just age, gender, sexuality. It's just really cool to have like your through line with that variety of people and experiences. And I've really been enjoying it lately.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. Appreciate it. Yeah. It's the first time I think a man has complimented me that much with my dick out. So. That's much appreciated.
Well, that's because people are just being more people probably would do it if you let them. I'm not, listen, take it from me. Dudes, there's always a dude who will blow you. Maybe that's what I'm going to leave the folks with.
As I give myself a cord job. I mean, should I just give the show to Chuck? What do you think he's better than me at this? I think he's pretty damn good. That was a fun guess. It was fun hanging out with our cocks out, talking, getting all raw about ManwhoreCon stories. Oh my. Well, we're talking even more in his bonus episode. Quite a lengthy, girthy, big, bald bonus episode, if I may say so myself. We went in depth about his marriage and how they met, how it flourished, and why they eventually opened up and how they make it work for them. Really valuable stuff if that's something you've been contemplating in your relationship. And you can gain access to that bonus episode, as well as over 200 bonus episodes exclusively on Patreon. And you can gain access to those bonus episodes, as well as access to tonight's watch party thing. Look, it's a camera optional, clothing optional hangout on Discord for fan whores only. Gain access to so much more. Support the pod you love at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Join us in the Champagne Room, whether you're coming in for the listen party or not. We're just at about 500 like-minded, slut-positive listeners. Join us in there. Make some new friends at manwhorepod.com/discord. One more time, folks, I would love to get your breakup stories. I want to hear your tales of misery, woe, or give me a real hot, slutty tale of getting dumped and sliding right underneath somebody else to forget about it. Come on, give it to me. Send me those emails at manwhorepod@gmail.com. My birthday's Sunday, and, between now and then, gosh, it would be the best gift in the world if I could see a ton of people. I'm thinking, I don't know, for 33, could I see 333 different people share the Man Whore podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Vimeo? Helping me grow this podcast is the best gift you could give me, and it costs you nothing. If you want to make my birthday a very special day, become one of the 333. I hope everyone's out there this weekend making semi-emotionally responsible decisions. Happy Pride, everybody. You got your month. It's that 1 month that your bank puts up a rainbow flag. Isn't that exciting? Stay safe out there. Have a whole lot of slutty fun for me. I'll be over here in Bushwick doing a puzzle alone in my room while I heal. Stay slutty. It's the vibrator that has no equal. And now, Motor Bunny offers their thrusting sex machine, the Motor Bunny Buck. Enjoy a fan whore discount at manwhorepod.com/motorbunny or use promo code manwhore at checkout.